talk. I don't want to sit on TV and be talking plenty alone. I want to make sure that I come to the grounds and I do what the people want from me. And that is why I accepted to be the running mate to Alache Mate. And yet, the Bia, my veterinary radio, Sunia Casa, bo. And yet, the Bia, the negative Sunia Casa, I'm not yet more TV. So, Yakasa Saya. Now, Memo, again, I met the eye. The Metina and say, Ura Alan Mamma, Sarah Quenya, let's home, number 2 Swanamo, number 1 Chrome, number 2 votes. So, the vice president, they didn't put over Brahana. If you have a pipe, you have more than you have support. Maybe I over NDC, I know the Anya myself. Maybe I over APP, I know Anya myself. They do parliamentary candidate, I would love with Yama the OPPR. Name of presidential, and some of the home Tino, I was able to Ura Alan, Quadu Semate. And yes, serious a move. Yet the Amano, yes, serious, and I'm a party, you put to be able to buy a Yama. None of the comments. So Amano, yet the party sem, yet the more bag sem, yet the oil sem, yet the t-shirt sem, yet the poster sem up. And put to a bit had that. One more year here. I want to do what you need. And the credential of the general and say, yeah, the cop about whom December 7. Political parties need to break the bar around. Or more, we did crash in 1992. Anyone who goes to Shambo, or now member. Now, Mr. Tomuba, yeah, Mumisa almost say. So, 16 years now, NDC for this. Now, 16 years now, MVP for this. And they are part of my mind. What I'm trying to say is, when all these political parties come around and they come to ask you for your votes, please ask them one very simple question. Both of them, NDC and MPP, they spent 32 years. NDC 16, MPP 16. Out of this 32 years or 16 years of the MPP and the NDC, the question is, what have they done for you people? Luckily, I represent you and you represent me. So now that I have the opportunity to support my boss, Alan Production Martin, by the grace of God and with your votes, when we win this year's election, there will be a vice president who will be coming from the Oti region. Now, because today I've been given an opportunity to walk that talk.
Yes, development is our goal, Ochradan. Yerbasha Mamane Tumpun. Even your school, a Barusians would say, or better wakonenim, or better wakonenim. And then you see out about our troubles in the provisions, not on the back of secondary school. Yes, and yet the mention of the Banoko school. Yes, the community school near Zerba. And Zama or Kofufa, one cross schools in Onkoshe. In Chobo, the schools are Casana Yabobos in Wagana Hano. In Zamana, what them community school, Ibiponi war. O Sunday young Kade, Sabio Mamia, no Pepe, been to also Manco school. What on to Monfonco school, Casana, Kakrabano so. As the papa womb, teachers are papa womb. Into also
Right. Good morning once again. Welcome to the review segment of the show. It's a Monday morning. We've tabled quite a number of topics for today's conversation. African story. We shall be looking at what the president has said in that interview with France 24 in relation to security in the Sahel region. He, according to our president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the security issue here has become worse, and that's going to be our African story. Huge crowd vigil crowns day 3 of Free the Citizens, Stop Galamsey protest. Ghana's public debt hit 761.2 billion Ghana cedis as domestic debt balloons to 290.9 billion Ghana cedis. That's going to be our third story. And finally, election 2024, Alan vows to break NDC NPP duopoly. This is the banner headline of the Insight newspaper. These are the topics that we are discussing this morning. Make sure you join me, be a part of the conversation. Let me know what your thoughts are. The text line is active 055-9919-802. 055-9919-802. That is the number to which you can send your text, your WhatsApp text, and your normal messages. I'll be more than glad to read them. Let me remind you that also we are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. Facebook.com/Pan-African Television. Make sure you join us. YouTube.com/Pan-African Television, as well as 46 other African countries via satellites in some parts of Europe and of course South America. Pan-African Television, we are ubiquitous. We are everywhere. Right. I've been joined this morning by Honorable Alexander Percival Segbefi. Honorable Alex, good morning.
Good morning to you, Bless.
I think it's been about
to be back on the show.
It's been about 2 weeks. Yeah,
2 weeks and a half. Something like that.
Yeah. Same with Dr. Marzouk. It's a delight to have you back.
Thank you.
I trust you're fine.
I'm well.
How was Oxford, by the way?
Fantastic. Yes. The Faculty of Medieval and Modern Languages assembled language scholars to look at new ways of tackling language education, because we are confronted by technology. You now don't need any language education to be able to use translation. If you have anything, if you have your Google, you go to a Spanish country or a French country, you just need to rely on your Google, and then it can be translated to you. How do we then confront these technological challenges, and then to ensure that we in the classroom are still relevant? These are some of the reasons we were assembled at Oxford, and I was fortunate to be one of the African well, I won't say African scholar, but one of the African students of language to be assembled at to rub shoulders with la crème de la crème.
He has been drinking proper tea, not the tea that is in Ghana.
So I was fortunate to have been among the la crème de la crème of language education.
But actually, you know, in the course, we use a lot of interpreters. And there are certain phrases and certain things which you cannot do on a computer.
That's true.
The meaning of it will be lost if you go into a computer. So you would still need interpreters, at least in court.
Exactly.
Because the person is expressing in a particular way.
Yes.
And if you try to use a computer, you miss his point.
Even not even in court, in so many language settings. If you do deeper analysis of the computerized software, translation, and all, you realize that you still need
interpreters.
Yeah, the interpreter. You still need the human face. So we also want to showcase this hidden fact that you have just brought to learners, so that they will still have confidence in us. Then how do we then even confront that? That needs
you can cook in a microwave. There's nothing like a chopper
at all. Right. So Oxford was very interesting, and I think Uncle Alex will be remembering his days in England. Yes. Always good to be in England.
My tea.
I'll bring your tea.
Right. Let's straight away get into our first topic for conversation. The president was interviewed, I think, by France 24, that particular interview is trending, especially because of various things that he said. But we'll start with the African bits. That's going to be our African story. He commented on the security issue in the Sahelian region. He also spoke about Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and the fact that they have seceded from the West African sub-regional body, that is ECOWAS for that matter. According to our president, since the French troops left, security has become worse, or insecurity has become worse in the sub-region. This is according to our president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I don't know if that truly is the case, but that's the reason for which we'll be having this conversation in the first place. He also spoke about the fact that Mali, Burkina Faso, and then Niger have left ECOWAS. He doesn't think it's a good thing, and then he feels that ECOWAS should do everything possible to bring them back to the body. But I mean, we know the sort of, if I should put it that way, the sort of affection that our president has for France, for that matter. There's a place he's lived, there's a place he's schooled, and all of that. And we know that in principle he disagreed with that coup d'etat in Burkina Faso especially. And when the issue about the French troops leaving, he also was not happy, with that. To the very extent that I think it was last year that he went to America and then passed some comments in relation to that Wagner are now in Burkina Faso, and so is happy. It brought some form of diplomatic tension between both countries, except that I think some time back he went to try and iron our differences. But is it true that since France, or since the French troops left the Sahelian region, insecurity has become a worse thing? Honorable Segbefia.
Let me first of all say good morning to your viewers and listeners. It's been a while. And good morning once again to my colleague Mazouk and to you as host. Where the president sits, let me give him some latitude. He will have a lot more information about some of the ongoings in the sub-region as president, for true briefings from different bodies, international bodies, etc. So I give him that latitude first and foremost. Having said that, if you make such a public statement, you must try and back it a little bit with some empirical evidence. It's my humble, it's my humble opinion. Because the truth is that our position has been going from bad to worse, even when the French troops were there. The situation in the sub-region, all these coups d'etats and things, the French troops were there when all this happened. So since the French troops have left, where has there been the number of coups d'etats that have occurred? So if somebody just wants to use that as a basis, then it's not true. Because the whole sub-region has been in turmoil. If he's using it on the basis of, look, the extent to which terrorism is expanding, that is evidence that we don't have. But we have all been aware of the difficulty with the rise and the threat of terrorism. And when it was rising, the French were there. How long ago have they left that all of a sudden it is worse? What's your definition of worse? Because the position, some believe, was even created by their presence. So the whole colonial issue, you see, and people are moving away from what is giving ammunition or fuel to some of these actions. It's the exploitation of the masses, especially in the Francophone countries. Let's be clear. I'm going to take my money and keep putting in your bank account for you to then lend it to me. It doesn't make sense in modern day. And we then want to pretend as if we will talk about everything else apart from what is really the main cause of why people are unhappy. So, as I said, I've given him latitude, but we want a little bit more empirical evidence to show that things are worse than they were. You now have 4 countries who are saying they are not part of ECOWAS. Unfortunate. All being led by military rulers. And for those of us who are Democrats and want democracy to be the forefront, we will never support or condone any form of uprising of that nature. But having said that, if we don't first of all address what causes those issues, then we ourselves are being ostriches. We are putting our head in the sand as if, oh, it's done, so it's wrong. Why do these things happen, and why do they continue to happen? Because of exploitation of our people and trampling on their rights in democratic dispensations. So eventually something will give. So while we are making these statements, let us also acknowledge that we are not practicing democracy in the way it should be practiced, what we understand it. And therefore you are given windows of opportunities for those. Now, there are some who are hailing the Burkina Faso leader for what he has achieved in a very short space of time in tandem with the Russian regime or the Russians governments. So all of a sudden you have an east-west battle, and we are all supposed to sit down and comment when actually it's out of our hands. And it's something that it's a question of how you treat people and how they feel that they are part and parcel, because you really don't want to exchange one problem with another problem. But let's look at what is happening there and see whether there is some real advantage to what is happening in Burkina Faso, and whether there's now really a bigger threat, or things are now coming under control because of the amount of ammunition, arms and things, and their sophisticated weaponry, where they are able to detect all kinds of things happening in Burkina. So I'm not a judge, and I'm not saying that the president is totally or is wrong. That I'm not saying. I'm saying that he should come out with a little bit more empirical evidence to explain to us, because for as far as we are concerned, nothing has changed. If anything at all, it may be even getting better, not worse. But I may be wrong, because he is there in a position where he's being told all, he's seeing all, and is making these statements. But his statements in the past, when you are in an international arena, publicly, has not helped us with our neighbors. So he's part, or at a certain point, he was part of the problem. And fortunately, he has been able to retract and try and reinvent himself with regard to those. So we are grateful for that aspect of it. But to say that because the French have left, things are worse, I think he has to come up with a little bit more for me. And he may be able to justify it. But they say that if you cannot speak about something publicly, they don't speak about the other stuff publicly. I don't like this person, or I don't like this person. Why? I don't like this person, or I don't like this person. Why? You never tell us why you don't like the person, but every day you don't like them. It doesn't work. At some point, you must be able to say why things are. If not, don't say you don't like the person. Just leave it as is. And that is where I think we've reached in this. And that is not to say that the sub-region is safe. The sub-region is in turmoil. And it has been slowly building up with time. So when you have 4 potential 5 coup attempts, 4 of which or 3 of which have been successful, and they are in francophone countries, you have to be careful how you sing the praises of the French, because it is indirectly going against your own colleagues or your neighbors. Let's tackle the core of the matter. Let's go to a table with the French and explain to them that the days of that type of colonial mastering, indirect or neocolonialism in a different format, must go away. give them a little bit more space and latitude, like the Anglophone countries have had. And that can help stem the problems that have existed. So that is my take on that matter.
Right, thank you very much, Honorable Secretary. Doc.
Good morning to the cherished viewers of ours, and thanks for the opportunity to be here. Special good morning to my uncle and to you. Let me comment, Uncle Secretary, for at least being largely neutral and objective instead of political. His submissions on this topic is highly objective, not political at all. Right? He may have a way of introducing elements of political elements of political color, but at the end of the day, largely it has been very, very objective, and I entirely agree with him. The President, His Excellency, is occupying a position that is exposed to a lot of information on security. Security about the country, security about the sub-region, security about the whole world. For all you know, depending on his relationship with the West may even be giving him the CIA, the FBI, the Mossad, and whatever. They may also be giving him some form of information that is not privy, that we are not privy to. So he has a lot of information. But in giving out that information, he should be as fair, as objective as possible. And I, permit me to say, agree with him partially and disagree with him partially. Let me tell you, Uncle Secretary mentions the need for empirical evidence. It is true. But in research, academic or industrial, when the phenomenon is so observable, so pure, it's so obvious, you don't need any empirical evidence. You don't need any hypothesis to test it. For instance, you don't need any research to tell you that if you drink poison, you will die. You understand that? You don't need any empirical evidence to tell Ghanaians and the world that Galamsey is destroying this country. It is not a matter of research. No. You do not need any research finding to know that politicians, at least some of them, are corrupt. You don't need any research to establish the hardships confronting Ghanaians. Uncle, do you need any research to establish those things? So we may not even need the empirical evidence. But the worsening trend has always been with us, as you have rightly mentioned. Whether it is because of the leaving of the French troops or otherwise is debatable. But I will not agree. I will not. I will give you the opportunity to advance your own argument, but I will not agree that it has been so because the French troops have left. It is not true. What is true is that the worsening trend has been with us. It is true. It has always been true. So that also tells us something about the military regime. I am a Democrat. I'm a lover of democracy. I'm not a politician. I will never, as Uncle has stated, support any military junta. Because this is a situation that gives the weakest, the cheapest recruit the power of life and death. It makes the barracks a place of torture and murder. And even the military uniform, a source of fear and tear. We should not go for that. We do not want it. However, if we do not want it, we should equally oppose the factors of it and work towards the prevention of it. As we are speaking, if we are to rely on the factors of military intervention, then no African country is safe. No, none of them is safe. No. From the monarchies to the so-called democracies, none of them is safe. But it is only by the grace of the Lord and perhaps by the understanding of the people, sometimes by the cowardice of the people, that these regimes have been spared. Thank God. The other aspect of the president's remark is true. Let's go for these people. Let me tell you something. Look, the world is gearing towards unity. And each sub-region on earth is empowered by unity. You could talk of EU, you talk of AU, you talk of other sub-regions, ECOWAS. I love them. I don't love the military junta, but I love their readiness to stand up to the imperialists. As for the France, it will not be the better option for France to come to rule them again. Why will you allow people to suffer? Even in the name of independence, the people are still suffering. They are still, you will dictate their economic fortunes. I know that largely even the British did not give us complete economic independence. I know. But there is a leverage. They have given us some latitude. Let me borrow your word. They have given us some latitude. They have given us some freedom to manage our affairs. They have designed the economic structure in such a way that no matter how independent you are, you still need them. That is okay. But if we have an effective leadership, we may not need them. But in the case of the French colonialism, nothing like that happens. It is the nonsensical ideology of assimilation, the policy of assimilation. You must assimilate. They've even been able to create a Frenchman in Africa and call him France Afrique, a French world in Africa, and call it France Afrique. A French person in Africa. You must live like a French person. Your thinking, even culture, your culture must subordinate to the imperialist culture. What kind of colonialism is this? So I entirely support the regime, whatever regime, whether democracy or military, to confront the neo-colonialist mentality of France, and to do everything possible to at least gain some percentage of economic liberty. So, on this note, I agree with the president that those people cannot live alone. Four countries forming an alliance, they may not live alone. And let me tell you why they may not be able to succeed. They may not be able to succeed. They are three. They are even three. They cannot succeed because already they are being opposed by the imperialist France, and France will do everything to undermine them. Second, then ECOWAS. It is not in their interest to be at loggerhead with ECOWAS, no matter how useless or not useful, no matter how unuseful. Let me use that word. No matter how unuseful ECOWAS is, it is better to be in ECOWAS than to separate yourself, because the more they separate themselves from the ECOWAS and other African organization, continental organization, the more they expose themselves to enmity. They should not widen the net of their enmity. They should try as much as possible to reconsider their decision. This is not to say that when they come back to ECOWAS, they should still submit to the whims and caprices of France. They should continue to stand up to the colonial master and do everything possible to offer their people legitimate leadership that will lead to proper democracy and prosperity. Thank you.
Just 1 point, the truth is that the AU and ECOWAS have left down a lot of member states in a way that they do not have any confidence, no strong confidence in the systems,
sure,
or in them anymore. So there has to be self-introspection,
yes,
of these international organizations.
So let me add that the EU and the ECOWAS should also live up to expectation.
No, AU.
Sorry, the AU, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The AU and ECOWAS should also live up to expectation, so that it will continue to attract more members and then ensure more unity. Instead of allowing people to just do whatever they want. And even, just not even those countries, even Ghana, even the entire continent. How can we have an AU that is largely sponsored by EU?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Is it not the same?
Exactly.
I mean, yes.
He who pays the piper calls the tune.
Of course.
Yeah.
So as long as we have an AU sponsored by EU, we are still,
and we have rich African countries.
Yes, we are still subjects of neo-colonialism. That must change. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Dr. Marzouk. A reminder that we are live on Facebook once again, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. If you haven't joined us, if you can't watch from your TV sets, perhaps you are going to work, you can quickly log on to Facebook, and then we are there, Pan-African TV. Also on YouTube, we are there as well. Make sure you join us and leave a message so that I read in the course of the show. But away from that, we'll still stay with the president, but this time around on the issue of protest. There's a story on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. It says, huge crowd vigil, climax 3-day Galamsey protest. So the Galamsey protest and also Free the Citizen protest came to an end, I think, on Saturday. It was a 3-day protest, started on Thursday, Friday, Saturday was the climax of it. A fun expression. It was a fun expression in that interview with France 24. The president was asked about his position, especially when it comes to dissent. And I think we have the video. Let's hear it from the proverbial horse's own mouth. Let's watch the video about the president responding to his government and his government's response to dissenting opinion. Let's watch it.
Speaking of security, French troops left. Those countries said, you know, we're going to take care of security ourselves, bring Russian mercenaries or whatever. You are a neighbor of Burkina Faso. From your viewpoint, has the situation worsened since the French troops have withdrawn, or has it improved?
It's certainly not improved.
Terms, you know, being changed. We change the constitution.
It's a difficult period. You'll have these up and downs, and right now
You're going down.
It's down.
Right, welcome back. I think we still do not have that part. We'll try our best possible and get it. But already we are receiving lots of messages from our Facebook. Mohammed Misbahuddin is sending in a lot of messages. So is Musa Abatwa and co. And so are Musa Abatwa and co. Mensa Pillar too. But keep them coming. Also on WhatsApp, I'm receiving several messages, but the president actually responded, and according to him, he's not responsible for jailing protesters. The court is responsible for that, and if they I mean they are being jailed according to the president. They are being jailed because they did things that are untoward, or they did things that went against the law, and so that's why they are being jailed. So his government is open to dissenting view. Even said that he's one person that demonstrations have aided, especially when it comes to his political career. We remember Kwame Preko in '95, and so why would he oppose demonstrations? So that was the president's, response. It's regrettable that we didn't get the video so that we hear from him directly. But I'm sure we'll try and then work on that. So, Honorable Segbefia, you were out for some time, but I'm sure you've been following the demonstration. The very fact that about 2 weeks ago, nearly 2 weeks ago, demonstrators or protesters, protested against illegal mining. They were rounded up by the police. Various allegations were made against them, thrown in various police cells across the capital, had to be taken to court, remanded for 2 weeks. All the courts that they were taken to, all the judges remanded them for 2 weeks, and people, suspected that some big hand somewhere, had directed that such a decision to be taken. What are your thoughts on this?
Let me just clarify one point you made. You said I've been out. Actually been out of Accra, but we've been campaigning seriously in Western and Western North regions. Yeah. So with the running mate, who has proved to be quite a phenomenon on the campaign trail. So that I just wanted to clarify that because people may.
So I've been more out.
Yes,
you've been out of the continent.
I think that certain things concern me. I wasn't in court, but bail is dealt with on an individual basis for every. So if there are 10 of you, you have a bail application for each person, and each person may have different conditions as to why. If you're saying that because of the offense they committed, regardless of what their individual circumstances are, all of them should not be granted bail, technically you are not handling it correctly. Bail is an individual, so you may not have. They can put a surety of 1,000 Ghana cedis on everybody. He that doesn't have the 1,000 will stay in. He who has will go out. They can ask that everybody should come and leave a passport. If you haven't applied for a passport by that time, you might have a problem. But if you have, you may not. Then when you look at the offense, if the offense is so grave, a murder case, all 5 of you are involved, they may decide that there's a likelihood that you may abscond and so on. But this is a demonstration. So I'm a bit concerned about the way all blankets were not granted. Everybody is not granted bail. Because it's not an offense of a certain gravity. It's a public excuse me.
Sorry.
It's a public disorder, technically. And so the only thing I find of interest is that the 3 days and the demonstration was still ongoing. So it's like we wouldn't allow them to go and join. You understand? So I'm hoping that by today or tomorrow they grant them bail. Because logically,
I understand you, yes.
Logically, that's the only basis for, with the little law that I know, that there's a fear that they will interfere with or otherwise obstruct the course of justice, or will commit further offenses by going back, because there are grounds for bail, and the person will fail to appear. I don't see it in this case. The person will commit further offenses if granted bail is possible, or the person will interfere with the cause of justice or otherwise obstruct it. That's the third. Self-protection is a fourth, but it's there. So when you have these grounds, the only one that I'm seeing, or the only two, is either that the person will commit further offenses by going back and doing likewise, and therefore that covers almost all of them. And that is the. But when you think about what Ghana stands for in terms of public disorder, you have a president who has been there. I don't quite even understand why they were not granted bail initially. If the person goes back and does the same thing, then you now have better grounds for saying he'll commit further offenses. But it's a one-off. And I'm not standing in the face of the judges or the judge who sat in it, but I think that immediately, the reason why they can ask the president on an international stage is because it smells with a political flavor immediately. It looks like it's pure politics that we are playing with this particular demonstration. And for a country and a president who prides himself on justice, freedom, of the ability to express oneself, all the ideals of a democracy, then it leaves a bad flavor. Then it becomes even worse when you look at the reason why the demonstration has come about. The demonstration has come about because of Galamsey. And the Galamsey, one of the biggest problems, and let me now delve small into politics, is that no matter what people say about the fight against Galamsey, one of the biggest factors that President Akufo-Addo cannot run away from is that there's a wholesale belief that government officials are behind Galamsey and have an interest.
You say belief or reality?
Let's just say belief.
Or you are cautious of your diction.
Exactly.
Cautious of your diction.
We have even their own minister has given us a plethora and a list of people.
That's why I'm surprised
Exactly.
when you still say belief.
So when you put it in that context, you then realize that none of these people have been arrested. None of them has been refused bail. None of them is even being questioned. So when you have it in that context, and people are demonstrating against an illegality being perpetrated in the belief by your government, then it worsens the matter completely. And they should have all been granted bail by now, because the worst perpetrators of what is going on are government officials in the view of many Ghanaians. So in that vein, then there is no justification for where we find ourselves. And the president's inability, he put his presidency on the line for Galamsey, and therefore should have resigned by now. Because if he can say openly that because the French troops have left, things are worse in the sub-region, then I'll go with Dr. Masuk's position that you don't need any empirical evidence to know that Galamsey in 2016 and now 2024, Galamsey is 3 times worse than what it was. In that you don't need any empirical evidence, it's there. And so he has failed and should have resigned by now, because it's not even stagnant, it's getting worse. And it's because, and that's why I say a little political, because one of the ways in which John Mahama has said I'll deal with it is that when I am president of Ghana come 7th of January 2025, anybody who has a sniff of Galamsey in and around him wants to do cannot be in my government or cannot hold government. And it's a very important step. People don't, it is at the center of how you are going to then do all the other things you want to do. Because the moment government officials are involved or have an interest, then it becomes difficult for those who have been put in charge to deal with it to act. DC, you have become a Galamsey person. Minister, you have become a Galamsey person. This person here, presidency, he has become a Galamsey person. All these people, as you find them, go home, go and do your... And all they say, and let me use this opportunity to draw a very important distinction that a lot of politicians are, and the media is having a field day on because of language and taking statements out of context. You see, there is small scale mining and then there's Galamsey. Small scale mining is legal. Galamsey is illegal mining. But there are small scale operators who have the license who are mining illegally. And therefore are the same as the Galamseyers. You understand?
Yes.
But there are also small scale miners who are legally working. And therefore they are not illegal. They have got a proper license, they are following the rules, and they are mining. So if somebody is speaking and the media do not look at the context in which the person is speaking. They quickly say that, because there's a mention of this word galamsey or this, the person is supporting it on. No. As a political party, the NDC does not support galamsey. Or in fact, for that matter, we do not support any small-scale mining that is done illegal. In fact, we don't even support those who have legal mines who are doing illegal mining or trying to. It's illegal, period. But we are saying that we have to look and see a way in which you can train, explain, and get people to do legal mining, as opposed to, and that is small scale mining, as opposed to illegal mining. And in order to do that, you first of all have to be able to understand that even some of the equipment that is being used should be banned.
Yep.
At any small scale legal mine, what is an excavator doing there? What is a chamfan doing there?
Yeah.
Are you getting me?
Maybe it's a small excavator.
So the moment you see it, you know that perhaps there's some illegal mining going on here. How is those that are allowed to do small scale mining with the use of excavators, what are the rules and what governs that use? Because we have been mining for centuries. I just listened to a tape by Otunfo and I agreed with him. Because those days, it was shovel, your pan, and you man. Nobody even knows that you are there.
Yeah.
You cannot, because it's the machinery. It's that animal called an excavator that is destroying our. They can even use excavator to divert rivers.
Yeah.
So that it goes to a certain, they have changed the whole landscape. So that animal called an excavator is the problem. But I just wanted to draw the distinction. So when journalists hear people speaking, either you correct them or you give the explanation in context. Don't also start playing politics by saying, this person said this, so it means this. Understand the context in which he's saying it and then give out the evidence. But this is where we are. So it is important also for the politician to know how to speak, because there's galamsey, which is totally illegal. There's small scale mining, which on the face of it is legal, but there are small scale miners who are doing their business of mining illegally, and therefore they are illegal. And then there's legal small scale mining. So just when you talk about mining, you have to understand the different categories. But when somebody says galamsey, straight away people think, oh, you are saying, if you say you are going to educate and train galamseyers, does it mean that it means that you are changing them from galamsey to legal small scale mining. Mm-hmm. And that is what people should understand. But people, journalists are trying to play games with it. No. We understand their
semantic gymnastics.
Exactly. We understand, but it's wrong. Because if you are going to train somebody and educate somebody to now do proper legal mining, you are not making it galamsey. It's not true. But you're not promoting galamsey. You are not. But here you have a lot of people who are trying to do that. Or some people try to misinterpret. Don't. Because the problem is big enough as it is. And we have to find a way to halt everything or put everything in perspective and then begin to deal and ensure. You are not going to get rid of mining completely, but you can get rid of these sham farms, and people have to have proper justification for having these excavators on their sites, because they are the damage causes. But we have been mining in this country for centuries. Everybody has known gold. Why was it never an issue? Why are our rivers and bodies never polluted? Why now? And we know the reason. So let's work to it. And the NDC government promises to do just that. We are waiting to hear from the butterfly.
It's also good
I'll
morning.
just say good morning to you. It was my good morning to you. This was my good morning.
I miss you. I miss you, baby. I miss you. Good morning to Dog and good morning to Honorable and yourself.
Good morning, sir.
I am having to be late because of obvious reasons.
Of course, you told me. But I think that video is ready now. The president commenting or responding to questions about dissent. Let's watch the video.
About protest movements, we've seen a lot of protests. Some activists were arrested, put in jail. The opposition is saying you're trying to stifle dissent.
I'm not responsible for jailing people in Ghana. The courts in Ghana are independent institutions, and they have been all through this period of the Fourth Republic. People misconduct themselves and they're brought before court. It's for the court to deal with them. That's not a matter.
It has nothing to do about politics.
It has nothing to do with the executive. And their behavior is what lands them in problem with the police and with the courts. It's not the protests. How can the president, who himself, his political career was aided by leading protests, have problems with protests? I don't have problems with protests. And nothing is done in Ghana to prevent people from airing their views on anything.
Right. Are you concerned about protest movements? We've seen a lot of protests. Some activists were arrested, put in jail. The opposition is saying you're trying to stifle dissent.
I'm not responsible for jailing people in Ghana. The courts in Ghana are independent institutions, and they have been all through this period of the Fourth Republic. People misconduct themselves and they're brought before court. It's for the court to deal with them. That's not a matter.
It has nothing to do about politics.
It has nothing to do with the executive. And their behavior is what lands them in problem with the police and with the courts. It's not the protests. How can the president, who himself, his political career was aided by leading protests, have problems with protests? I don't have problems with protests. And nothing is done in Ghana to prevent people from airing their views on anything.
Right.
There you have it, the President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo responding to questions in relation to dissent. Right. On that note, let me come to Dr. Marzouk. He would also share his thoughts with us on the Galamsey issue and the arrests that have been made in that regard, and the President's response. Doc.
Thank you. If you analyze the protest alone, you will be wrong. If, in any case, if you analyze it in isolation, you will be wrong. For us to have a clear picture and to do proper analysis, we must analyze it within the context of criminal justice, within the context of constitutional provision for freedom of expression, within the context of liberty, within the context of dissent. You will agree with me that demonstration is a legitimate feature of any established democracy. Everybody has the right to demonstrate in any meaningful democracy. So it is not wrong to demonstrate. Let me also be fair to the president. It is true that he, as the president, does not jail people. It is true that the courts jail people. It is true that the courts are expected to be independent. It is true that the president cannot, in an ideal situation, influence the judiciary. These are theoretically true. So we should be fair with him. I mean, we should be fair to him. But the president should not also forget that they wouldn't be, I'm not a lawyer, but I know very well that there cannot be any meaningful prosecution in this country without the Attorney General, who is appointed by the executive. So, at the end of the day, whatever the Attorney General does represents the will and the wish of the executive, especially in our situation. I am not saying that the president directed the attorney general or the judiciary. No, after all, the attorney general is not a member of the judiciary. He's a member of the bench, not a member of the bar. So it is still true that the judiciary is separately independent. My problem with, and let's also be fair to ourselves, some of the demonstrators actually misconducted themselves. It is true. I mean, they committed some offenses. Let me give you a classic example. Even though the issue is in court, I don't want to comment too much on that. Obstructing of traffic is an offense in this country, right? I mean, harassing people. You don't even know them, you harass them. Somebody was trying to go to a hospital and then he was late. Those things could be offenses. Well, the Attorney General has every right to prosecute them. But my problem with the prosecution is the selective application of the prosecutorial jurisdiction of the Attorney General. That selective application, the President would have been hailed, the Attorney General would have been hailed, this government would have been hailed if it had started, or if they had started prosecuting the perpetrators of Galamsey. They have started there. And that's why I'm saying that if you analyze the protest itself in isolation, you will be wrong. The protest does not live in vacuum. It lives within a certain context. The protest is a reaction. It's not an action. It is reacting to the evil action of Galamsey. Galamseyers are not prosecuted, protested are prosecuted, even if they are wrong. So that alone, it creates a picture, a certain picture of the executive trying to intimidate people or to stifle dissent. Mark my words, I'm saying it creates that picture. Whether that picture is correct or wrong, the picture is there. So, inability to prosecute Galamseyers and the ability to prosecute demonstrators against Galamsey are incompatible. And both of them, when they come together, they are incompatible. And that incompatibility raises a question of bias, a question of stifling dissent, a question of arrogance, a question of autocracy within the context of democracy. These are my concerns. These questions are my concerns. And you know, for the president to say that he doesn't control the judiciary is correct. Yeah, that's correct. Theoretically, we don't know what is happening. What is happening behind the theoretical scenes.
He's not supposed to anyway.
Yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. That we don't know what is happening behind the theoretical scenes.
Yeah.
But theoretically, he's not even supposed to control the judiciary. And we all know that the judiciary is independent. But the independence of the judiciary in any meaningful democracy largely depends on the fair application of the prosecutorial powers of the Attorney General.
Yep.
Let me give you a classic example. You know, when you are in a democracy, you also have to balance the power of prosecution. We all talk about things that should have been done before this election. The killings.
Yeah.
The human killings.
Yeah.
Ayawaso killings. After the Agbogbo killings, it happened in NDC. They didn't do anything. So it has been the style of the politicians. Agbogbo killings. They were even killed in the presence of police. The police couldn't do anything. Up to date, no one has been prosecuted. So it happened in NDC. It is happening in MPP too. So it is part of our political feature. Maybe as we grow, we will find a solution to it. The Ayawaso killings. I have always mentioned and I've always appealed to the Attorney General and the Inspector General of Police to at least institute even frivolous charges, level frivolous charges against these people and get them to court. None has been prosecuted. Humble souls, even though some of them misbehaved, even if they misbehave, coming to demonstrate, which is a legitimate constitutional right, then you arrest them and jail them. You arrest them, send them to court, and then they are refused bail. I'm not a lawyer, but in my journalistic career, I have worked closely with lawyers. Right? His Excellency the President was our lawyer, Free Press. He was our lawyer. He was our defense counsel. When Free Press was hauled to court for criminal contempt, for the libel and the criminal contempt. And the editor, Edwin Kwaku, Kukubaku, Harunata, they were all hauled to. Edwin Kwaku was for, Free Press. I was the youngest reporter at Free Press, and then Edwin Kwaku, Harunata was the editor of Statesman, which we were told was owned by the president, and then Kukubaku was writing for the guide. They were all, they even contempt. For the contempt, they were jailed. The prosecution had succeeded in jailing them for contempt, right? So then Nana Akufo-Addo was our lawyer. In fact, it became so, I don't know whether it was divine design that the defense lawyer in that criminal libel, after the victory of Kufuor, became the Attorney General. So it was easy for the case to be thrown out. And when he was so busy that he couldn't be coming to court, Akoto Ampao was handling the case on his behalf. Yes. So I have worked closely with them, with the lawyers. And I was a darling boy of Akoto Ampao. So I know very well, and I'm not going to mince words, I know very well, with all humility, that demonstration is legitimate, and that the misbehavior in association with that demonstration, as we have witnessed, that offense is bailable. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm with you on that one.
Yes, it's bailable. So on what basis will you refuse the bail? On what basis will you refuse prosecuting the very person whose action called for the demonstration? On what basis? And if you cannot prosecute that person, why will you prosecute the person who opposes him? Even if the person who opposes him commits any crime. So these are my concerns. But let me conclude by saying that it is true that theoretically the president doesn't control the judiciary. It is also true that the president appoints the Attorney General who prosecutes criminal offenses. It is also true that demonstration is a legitimate feature of a functional constitutional democracy. It is true that the offenses or the charges leveled against these demonstrators are bailable. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Dr. Marzouk. Let me read a few messages before I come to Solomon Owusu. Good morning, Honorable Segbefia. Hope you are fine as I see in your colorful smoke. You know I am a follower of Pan-African TV, especially on Mondays when you're on the program. I wish you all have a good day. All right. Good morning, blessed. Nanado is heartless. His demeanor in human relations is very poor. A president who has no sympathy for his citizens is a dangerous person. Has he been watching television to see how our water bodies are destroyed in the name of Galamsey? These demonstrators jailed must be released immediately. Sami in Adenta. Thank you, Sami, for your message. Good morning, bless. Akufo-Addo must be impeached for breaching his oath of office to protect life and state property. He also violated UN Resolution 2573, which declares water pollution as a war crime and terrorism. Akufo-Addo and his officials must be reported to ICC for passing laws to pollute forest reserves and water bodies. ICC must place arrest warrant on our leaders to save Ghana from extinction. Pa Willie, thank you, Pa Willie, for your message. Good morning, comrades and patriots of Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. This group of the current NPP, led by Nana Addo and Bawumia, are lucky they survived civil and positive defense by Ghanaians in kicking them out, but are still conniving with the AC to rig the elections for Bawumia. They will sleep early on December 7. Ayi Justice from Navrongo. Thank you, Ayi Justice, for your message. Bless, good morning. I really like the way you handle your program. Sorang Nasigri, you sent this one. Thank you for your message. You added that I'm a native of So in the Mamprugu district, northeast region of Ghana. The So community is one of the biggest communities in the district, but it's unfortunate the community is still lacking developmental projects like good roads to access nearby towns for basic needs, mobile networks to be part of Ghana and the entire world, basic health needs, accommodation for teachers and nurses who are assigned for duty, and many more to be cited when there is the need. We, the people of So, are appealing to the authority to extend the help, to extend a helping hand to So. May Allah bless So and Ghana. All right, thank you for your message. Please, sir, if you come to Bosume Frehon constituency, all that they are doing is galamsey, but not proper small-scale mining activities. Reverend James Kweku Owusu, Sub-Zonal Leader Movement for Change, Bosume Frehon constituency. My greetings to Mr. Solomon Owusu. I watched him when he was on TV3 this morning, and now he's here. Kudos to him. All right. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, good morning, my brother. According to President Nana Addo, it is the behavior of the protesters that has landed them in jail. So sad to hear this, my bro. Madam Kate Jemfua was arrested and her equipment burnt to ashes for her involvement in Galamsey. As we speak today, she's working a free woman, and according to her, this fight against Galamsey should be put on hold, and they will all join hands in the fight after the elections. And according to Honorable Ayu, they will not stop Galamsey today, and they will not stop tomorrow. This goes to show President Akufo-Addo is not interested in fighting Galamsey. He's only interested in seeing that the NPP wins power. Right? Thank you so much, Alhaji Hamza, and thank you for always tuning in. Good morning, Bless, and this will be my last message I'll read before I come to Solomon Owusu. Good morning, Bless. Akufo-Addo and Bawumia are empty and have deceived the people of Ghana. Thank God His Excellency John Mahama is ready and willing to reset Ghana. I salute my boss, Honorable Alex Segbefia, and your able panelist, Isaac from Wija. Mr. Owusu.
Thank you very much. Bless good morning once again to Doc and Honorable. He has been on campaign tour with the running mate. I've been seeing him in some of the videos posting aggressively. But I want to assure him that they will have a place in Alan's administration as we will be creating a second chamber. And as a meticulous personality, I would personally make a case that he has to be part of the government of Alan Chama. You came to the studio, you hadn't woken up. Let me also greet the people of Ashanti region for the massive show of support, love to Alan Chama. I have been overwhelmed with the levels of reception that he is receiving in every community. And it shows how the people are ready to accept change. Let me also extend my warm felicitation to Kwame Osudanso. He has impressed me beyond all.
As for that one, dear.
I have been taken aback.
As for that one, dear. I mean,
and Kwame,
he has breathed a lot of life. Yes, I mean, sincerely, without being political. And I'm not saying this because he's my boss. Kwame has breathed a lot of life.
I can't express how much I'm proud of him. He's doing it and doing it well, and he's doing it from a genuine perspective. You understand? When you are not pushed to a corner, but you are allowed to express yourself freely. I think it's the best form of politics. Being cautious, mentoring. People are afraid to speak the truth on the author of political expediency. Let me greet Ohenento, who is also leading our team in the Bono region, Hobson Adoye in the Volta region, and Boniface Abubakar in the northern region. So, you know, it's a multi-system approach. And not forgetting our mother, Miss Chemante, who is also ensuring that Ashanti region fall flat as the signal ASEO begins to resonate with everyone. Bidi Jerry, I greet you. Bless President Akufo-Addo. He never ceases to amaze Ghanaians. But I was rather not shocked or surprised because he only stated what he's noted for. He says he was asked whether he was trying to gag dissent. Straight away, he jumped into, I am not responsible for jailing. You were not asked whether or not you were responsible for jailing. You were asked whether you were in your bid as the head of the executive. You've been trying to prevent people from expressing their opinion. Straight away, he moves from there and says, I am not responsible for jailing. Because everyone knows, including a child born today, that the decision to remand these protesters was purely political. Look, there is a lawyer here. This falls under what we call misdemeanor. And what is misdemeanor? It's a minor wrongdoing. And most of it, misdemeanors are handled by the police in terms of prosecution, if you've been going to court. On this occasion, the prosecution is being led by the Attorney General. So how can you convince anybody that you are not behind it? In any case, the very day that the Democracy Hub people were embarked on this demonstration, within some minutes, you had a new patriotic party led by the youth organizer also going to the 37 that they were ready to fight the people. Salam Mustafa must be very, very careful. If he doesn't know this world, if he doesn't know death, he must look at sleep.
They went with a police permit. Or...
They didn't go with any police, but he went there with his last militants. Then I looked at him and I said, you have strength. If people are supposed to be behind bars, last year, we had some youth organizers of the new patriotic party invade the premises of UTV. In fact, a live show.
Yeah.
They disrupted the show.
That's true.
Why are these people not behind bars? And you see, it is good that Akufo-Addo became the president. So I agree with Manasseh when he said the president of Ghana never. Can you imagine if he had not become the president of the land? What we would have said? That there was this man who was coming to develop Ghana into a heaven. I'm sure people say, I meet elderly people and young ones, so he doesn't care who told him, he cares. There is blood flowing through him. I don't think he sleeps. He knows that he has messed us up. He has messed the unborn generation up. Our young ones, anytime I wake up and look at my young girls, I weep within me because they say cancer takes 15 years to expose itself. What is the guarantee that these young ones do not have the cancer? What is the guarantee that they will live beyond 20 years mark? And we have a president who is saying that I am not responsible. In any case, Article 882, what does it say? The work that the Attorney General does is referred to him by the president. You understand? And also, the Attorney General is the one that initiates all prosecutions on behalf of the state.
I've mentioned that.
You understand? Okay. So, in effect, this prosecution was in the instance of the executive. The president who appoints the Attorney General. And to make matters worse, this is an Attorney General that has been caught on tape negotiating. How do I trust this Attorney General? Negotiating with a witness.
A defendant.
A defendant.
Just not a witness.
A defendant. That he should give his testimony in such a way that a fellow human being
will be indicated.
My neighbor, where did we go wrong? And you will see him holding a very big Bible, quoting from Genesis to Revelation. You are talking to a defendant to get another person in trouble. What can't he do with judges? I mean, you think we are small boys or children in this country? these who have been always manipulated by the executive, listen to the president, say he's not responsible. You see how cleverly he's taking himself out of the whole equation. Tomorrow, those of you who are there giving these bogus rulings, the Ghanaian will begin to question you. Why you refused to grant them bills on the matter of misdemeanor. In any case, the president says...
He's a good president.
Who? Oh, he's a very good president.
For tomorrow, it's a good president.
That is why I am so surprised with people that do not know the dynamics of politics. Hey, in the 2000s, early 2000s, Kwadwo Pieni, the chief of staff, he was very powerful.
Very.
Is he powerful today?
Powerful.
Under President Professor Mills' administration, I remember when I went to Tamale. I said, I am here. What are the Azoka boys? Where is he today?
I'm not cutting you short.
Yes.
The most powerful and most influential attorney general Ghana has ever had, from PNDC to NDC, is Obeda Samuel.
Yes.
Where is he?
Where is he? So you see, power is transient. That's why when you get it, you use it to the benefit of entire society. You, in one breath, you are saying that you have nothing.
He's on our Council of Elders.
Yes. In one breath, the president is saying that he's not responsible for jailing people. In another breath, the president is saying that they are behind bars because of their conduct. But he is a lawyer. He knows that a person is innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. As we speak, have the people been tried? Have they been tried? For you to come to that conclusion that it is their behavior that has put them behind bars. In any case, there are more than 50 people behind bars. Is the president telling us that all around them have the uniform or the same charge or charges, or they committed the same crime? He shouldn't do that. But you see, the issue of Galamsey, I have said time with that number, that is the president and the vice president who are doing it. The day they will stop, President Galamsey will stop. I don't know why people are, you always miss the missiles on the altar of what diplomatic talk. No diplomacy, no, there's no diplomacy in this one. I know that we face existential threat. Alistair Mateus has told us that he was doing connection with the president. Every month he shipped $40 to $60 million. Professor Fripo, he was so meticulous. He mentioned all the people that are involved in Galamsey. Just this morning, I was reading.
Who was the one who said that the NPP need money for this, and so we have to do Galamsey?
Party you understand? This morning, the Adan is making the claim that, look, when he decided to fight Galamsey, a letter came from the regional minister. Warning him to stop dealing with Galamsey. And this one, he said it openly during his 10th anniversary. A chief, a paramount chief. That's why if Galamsey is happening in his traditional area, it is not him. He tried, but he was warned by the regional minister through the district chief executive. And that he says he has the letters to that effect, warning him to desist from pursuing those that were engaged in Galamsey. So who can convince anyone anymore that the Galamsey is not being done by people in authority? I keep saying that it is not a secret enterprise. Like the tester said, when you go to Bosomefraho, the entire area has been turned into a Galamsey. So don't we have a district chief executive? If the president sacked a DC of that area, he had done so because of Galamsey. And he had done so came out and said, look, the president, you are only playing to the Galamsey. I am not involved in Galamsey, but rather your MP for the area, the party chairman, and the new president you have selected to replace me are the people involved in Galamsey. The regular chairman of the MPP, when he has been given a prospective license in the Samrobo area, decided to enter forest. That caused the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to write. This was a statement issued by the ministry that he had no permit to enter forest. What did the president do? He sent LI 2462 to Parliament to regularize mining in forest reserve, so that one to me will not fall foul of the law. This is the president we are talking about. May the future generation never forgive him. Take it from me. You see, but what can we do again? He says he checked out last year. So as for him, he's not the president.
That is very true.
No, so sometimes when we are targeting him, he checked that last year. So you know the Cali Bishop conferences, they are going on what? Demonstration.
Yes.
Prayer demonstration. Yes. I believe that prayer must not be to ask God to turn his heart, because the man has already hardened his heart with his party people. They must begin to pray that those that are doing galamsey are eliminated from this world. That is the only way. Some must get stroke. Some must be visited with blindness, because they are killing human beings. They are wicked. Some must die. That is the only. Are you think they are afraid? No. But if the Catholic Church prayer will not work effectively, I understand the Fetish Priest Association are also planning on a demonstration. But some people they are saying they have a membership of more than 2,000. As for them, they say they are not going to pray for any government. They are only going to unleash curses. Why?
So one is praying.
So, but I believe in the one that is going to catch you. Eliminate them. This one is surgical oppression. We clear them fast. Because we have wicked men in positions.
Have patience.
You see, the question is that the way manner people are dying because of this galamsey, the levels of pollution that is facing this country, they have the money to buy imported water. But do I have it? That's my mother have it. My friends don't have it, and that is why the situation is so sad. And to make matters worse, I don't know which political strategist has advised the NPP communication wing that they should say they are not dealing with galamsey. They are deferring the fight till after the elections. I don't know the logic. When you ask, the last time the president decided to fight against galamsey, he lost in all the mining areas. Who told you? If he lost in all the mining areas, he would not be president.
That's right.
The president won in Takwa, he won in Obuasi, he won in Asante Achim Central, he won in Bosomefrehu, he won in Amansie Central, he won in Adanse, he won in Asante with more than 20 areas are galamsey sites or galamsey constituencies. The president won in all these things, these places. So where from this data that is telling you that you lost in mining areas because of your fight against galamsey? If that were the case, the president that instituted that fight should have lost the election of 2020. But yet we have them going around to the extent that you have an MP. Are you a free? That as Otunvo is destooling people because of galamsey, fighting it, he goes somewhere and says, go ahead and do the galamsey, open disrespect. And he's an MP. On the author of this statement, the people of Efija Sachem must vote against him. The alliance must be serious. We are allowing impunity, and when things degenerate, then we turn around to blame the president. The president, you see the way they are misbehaving. Now we have 7 December confronting us. Fortunately, today will be exactly 2 months to that fateful day, that fateful elections. There are currently 13 candidates vying for the position of the presidency. I've already told you that Honorable and his people will have a place in our administration by virtue of the second chamber that we are creating. So he and John Mahama and Professor Nana, they shouldn't worry at all.
There's a very important aspect of this.
Yes.
And I want to say it here before I forget.
Yes.
When they do the printing,
yes,
the printing document must be able to accommodate 13 names.
Absolutely.
In triplicate.
Absolutely.
Or in I shouldn't say triplicate because that's 3, but in the duplicates.
Yeah.
Because what happened last time, it could take only 8.
Oh.
So technically, it means that every polling station should have 2 books.
Yes.
Because you had 14 or so polling agents.
Yes.
Now, what then happens is that because at the end of the day you have only 6 people at any polling station who really attend or whatever, 7, nobody bothers about the second book.
Exactly.
And when we did our analysis, we got 2 sheets, same, different figures.
Yes.
which means that somebody attached the second book
Yeah.
and created it. And the way to avoid that is to have one book that when you write on the top part, the 13th and 14th can get.
Exactly.
If not, if there are 13 people there, and there are 2 books, you fill one and then you fill the other. And they promise your agent that when you sign this one, when you go, we'll deal with this one.
It's part of the reggae machine. In fact,
so
they must
we
have
want one book.
Yes, of course.
That is going to take all the NEC. Are you hearing me?
That's the movement will bring them back.
Bring one book. When they sign the top bit, then you can give all the 13 agents from that.
Yes.
There should be no second book lurking in the shadows.
Yes.
With the same serial.
Yes.
We don't want.
Yes. And to add to that, we are taking signals that they will try and then Alan's butterfly, the yellow will not come out boldly, so that they have to be very careful. They have to be very careful. Because now they know that ASEO is resonating. Look, because of Alan's presence, only 4 days in Ashanti region, it caused them to do a nationwide float at Baltimore over the weekend. The amount of money they expended. So people from Accra, Eastern region, and they christened it Baltimore. Who told you anybody from Baltimore wants to follow the MPP again? They have abandoned the party. They're taking a party. Hey, they have abandoned the party. So clearly, on the issue of Galamsey, it must be enough. And on the 7th of December, Ghanaians must go and vote for that change, that much needed change. Alan is saying that when he's given the opportunity to lead this country, there would be nothing like the LI 2462. The first day he enters office, he will revoke it. It will be sent to Parliament for them to revoke it. Because we cannot allow our forests to be mined. He says when you are caught on water bodies with your fine, it's life imprisonment. There is no ifs and buts. Because that person that is doing that is not thinking about those that are dying out of his actions and inactions. So why must you have message for the person? And on top of that, preventing it, you also create that man needed jobs. You know, it's all about jobs. That people will get employment, decent ones, to do and make a decent living. So it is very clear. If you want Galamsey, vote for 1. For Dumso, vote for 8. For development, industrialization, employment, vote for ASEO number 13. And when you are done, I can assure you that Ghana will not see such incompetent leaders like Nana Akufo-Addo and Mahmoud Bawumia again. Meanwhile, today is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's birthday. Let me wish him a happy birthday. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for serving this country for 7 years, leading to 8 years. You have been the running mate for 8 years, being in government for almost 18 years, 16 years on our televisions or on our papers, on our radios is enough. Go back peacefully, reflect, and know the do's and don'ts of politics. What you did wrong to this country and what you did right. When you have taken that deep reflection, and as it were balanced the negatives against the positives, you will realize that politics indeed, you must end it, and we would deliberate with you on the way forward as whether or not you will be in lecturing or a statesman. And on that note, I'll end my submission here.
Right. Thank you very much, Solomon Owusu. I'll do a few messages. Good morning, bless. The president, Nana Addo, has taken Ghana as a joke and is kidding with us. His response to the interview granted in France was unfortunate. Who does the police refer to as orders from above when they act arbitrarily in contravention of the law under the pretext of the so-called powers from above? Everybody knows he and his attorney general are the powers from above. The president does not have any respect for the Constitution of Ghana. From Chief Adam in Tamale. Thank you, Chief, for your message. Ken Williams says, good morning. Why does the police engage in selective justice when party thugs in police uniform openly attack our courts, shoot and kill people in Ayawa, Suijua, Chimane, Sikado, and other parts of Ghana? I don't understand why the police arrest protesters but allow people to mine and pollute water bodies. Akufo-Addo must be removed to save Ghana from doom. Thank you, Ken William, for your message. Hadi from Pig Farm says, good morning. my brother. Protesters arrested and sent to prison for 2 weeks for fighting against Galamsey under a so-called human rights lawyer. As our president, Mother Ghana is finished under this super incompetent, create, loot and share family and friends president. President Nana Addo is the only president who has disappointed the past, disappointed the present, and disappointed the future. All right. Thank you so much for your message. I weep for Baumia. Why? Now their mouths are loud. It is election day. They would see the impact of Alan on them. We're here when the Ashantis vowed not to vote for them. What has changed? Suglo K. Ibrahim Loho in the Upper West region. Right. Thank you. Okay. All right. This one here says that, good morning, bless. My name is Kucho, youth president in the Ashanti region. Bless, the only thing left now is me and you talking on radio and television. God help us. They've disappointed God. How much more me and you? Okay. Joe from Weja sent this one. He says, good morning, bless. The crowd of Ghanaians are becoming too loud against you as the president of this country because you are complicit in the fight against Galamsey. Mr. President, listen to the voice of the people. Listen to the voice of Ghanaians. Never appear as if you have a hard heart. A few days ahead of you being in office seems very scary. Please. All right. Thank you for your message. This one here says that, good morning, Pan-Africa TV. Bless, Ghana is at a critical crossroads that needs a government of national unity that will bring on board, and the only person who can do that is Alan John Kojo Chemating. Enough of the duopoly and the winner takes all. Vote Asieho, Sora, Sorion, Jibril, send this one. Sidi Abdul Kadir Gariba says, good morning, Bless. The EC chairperson must go. My love for Sulu has just taken to the galaxy. More fire. Mazi, Egenti. Kuku Boston says, good morning. Pan-Africa TV, God bless you for the good work. The only person who can stop Galamsey is Honorable Alan John Kojo Chemating. Vote for Alan to bring the change we want. My greetings to Mr. Solomon Owusu for the good work. Nazim Mohammed says the president chooses to address the foreign media and not the one in Ghana. At least he's talking clearly. When he is speaking in Ghana, he's not audible. He has he has messed up the nation and is still pretending to be fair-minded. NPP foot soldiers invaded and sacked a court and were not prosecuted. Our president is taking his dishonesty to international platform. How can you, president, refuse to prosecute the people destroying our water bodies and prosecute those fighting the menace? All right. Thank you. Suglo Ibrahim, bless. I weep for Baumia. I think I've done this one on WhatsApp. Bless. Okay, I think I've done this one as well. Right, we do not have so much time. I think 2 minutes each on a debt issue, which we have spoken about innumerable times. Of course, I mean, right. I mean, that's okay.
The breaking of the duopoly
is very important. Yeah. Solo should briefly start that conversation.
No, but
2 minutes.
The Catholic Bishop Conference have done greatest justice to why we must do away with the duopoly. If you read their statement or press release carefully, they trace their fight against Galamsey from 2009 to 2023. That on countless occasions they warned the governments of the day that they were sitting on concern for our environment to be destroyed. Now, what are they doing? They are going on demonstration to pray. So what it means is that the Catholic Church as a body have lost confidence in the two political parties, and that what they wish for this country is for us to do away with these two parties and settle on an independent candidate, and which I agree with. I remind you, it is out of the Catholic Church that we have the Protestant churches. Out of the Protestant churches we have the Pentecostal churches. Out of the party, because you have the charismatic. So when they say that, then clearly they want to do away with the duopoly. Again, anytime these duopoly are there, we are going to IMF. Currently, we are in IMF. So what is the guarantee again that when you give it back to the NDC, we are not going to the IMF? It is man past man. Therefore, we need to stop it at a certain stage in our development. Now, beyond that, if you read all the manifestos that have been presented, we presented a plan, not a manifesto. Remember, manifestos are set of promises. Ours is very clear when it comes to Galamsey. We are talking about 10-point agenda to deal with it. One, we ban it for a year, call all licenses. Now you don't even know which one is doing the legal ones and illegal ones. Those that have licenses, the mere fact that you have license to mine does not mean you are doing illegal mining. Some of them, you give them 2 acres, by the time you go to the field, they are doing 10 acres. They have gone beyond their boundaries. So it is not sustainable. Ban them, let all of them come. After all, when you are going for a mining permit, you present or submit a business plan to the Minerals Commission. In there, you state how you reclaim the land or how you are going to mine. Bring your license, take us to your site, or you go with, to the site with you to go and check whether what you promised in the business plan is what you are doing. Again, we are saying that we will demobilize, we will take all machines from site and keep it under care of the 48 Engineers Regiment. When we cross-check that you are doing the right thing, we will just give it back to you and make sure that the monitoring is intensified. I've already spoken about revocation of the LI 2462. I wonder, once again, this is the reason why all certain members of parliament must not be voted for. Because you cannot blame the president alone.
Yes.
The president sent it to parliament. Parliament that is evenly distributed, they also okayed it. So if I had my way, and those that are watching, sitting members of parliament across the political divide, vote against them. Because they have aided this president to misbehave. So Allah says you revoke it. Again,
was it a unanimous vote?
A lot of your members.
No, you didn't answer my question. Yeah. Was it a unanimous
vote? No, it wasn't a unanimous.
So
some of them, but now at this stage, when people are voting, you cannot differentiate whether it was honorable. So unblock all of them as
no. Solo.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Doc Marzouk.
Yes. Duopoly all over the world has been a feature of democracy. Even in established democracies, we still have the duopoly. We have the Democrats and the Republicans in America. We have Labour and Conservatives in the UK. And these are established democracies. So it is important for us to understand that not every form of duopoly is destructive. However, we will put it in our context. Duopoly is not good for us. It is not good for us because it prevails in the situation of arrogance, impunity, misbehavior, corruption. And when these evils exist in the context of duopoly, then that system becomes constitutional tyranny. It is no longer liberty. It becomes constitutional tyranny. And I want to tell you that the misbehavior of NDC and NPP is justified and goes unpunished because of the duopoly. Each of them, each of the political parties knows very well that no matter the situation, it will come to power. That destructive form of duopoly must end. Let me advise whoever comes to break that duopoly that it will be wrong. In fact, in academic writing, we say overgeneralization is an act of illogical thinking.
Yes.
You cannot say a whole society is wrong. So it is wrong to think that all NDC members or appointees are wrong or are bad. It is wrong to think that all MPP members or appointees are bad. It is not true. We still have very good people in NDC and in MPP. So any party or movement, let me add.
Very important.
Oh yes, any party or movement or independent who who succeeds in breaking this duopoly, and if you break it,
yes,
please, my advice for you,
yes,
is to identify the good people in NDC, like my uncle Segbefia and others, and good people in MPP.
Yes, you have some few of them.
Yeah, like Baumia.
Hey,
bring them on board.
What do you want to do this morning?
You can just everything I said. A beautiful presentation. So I should remove them. Okay. So good people, like, tell me whom I should mention.
Oh, we can consider Professor Jambafo and co.
And even the professor who exposed the Galamsey.
Professor from Bobo, a very fine brain. Very fine brain.
See, on a serious note,
there are fine brains in the NPP.
I'm telling you, on a serious note. On a serious note, let whoever breaks the duopoly, like the movement.
Yes.
If you succeed in breaking the movement,
and you are going to be on board too. Don't take yourself out. You are a very, very detailed person.
I'm humbled. Work with these people because of their experience, and then ensure that it is service to Ghana, and not service to politicians. Unity, not division. Peace, not violence. And excellence, not mediocrity.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Segbefia is one half of the duopoly. It's one half of the duopoly.
I have my sympathies and understand fully that my senior brother Kojuala Jamanting has taken the path he has taken. I personally am the view that it is incomplete, because you see the nature and structure of our governance is twofold. It's not singular. He is attacking the presidency but has left the legislature. He formed a movement and not a political party. So in effect, you will not break the duopoly, because the second half of governance is not in their hand. They are not part of it. And they are hoping to play with both parties to form that part, which leaves them as hostages to fortune in terms of the legislature. Why do you think there's this fight in parliament with 137? Even the duopoly knows that you need a majority to operate properly. And they will not have any of that. They are going to bring people from all walks. And on paper, it will appear to work. It's an experiment, assuming they can win. But the truth is that Ghanaians don't play with their vote anymore. They don't play cha-cha with their vote. And the truth of the matter is that if you want to give it to the president to someone, and you don't know how the person is even going to govern, because he has no control of the legislature, you rather go with what you know. I think they should have formed a political party. It's a bit late now.
We are never going to form.
I'm just saying, because it would have created a problem for the future in terms of, or be seen as a break of the MPP. So for some people, it's almost as if we have left you, but we haven't left you. We have left, you understand? You've left the MPP intact. Form a political party. And let everybody know that we are now back to 79, where UNC broke away from PFP. So I'm just talking generally that this breaking duopoly is only on one front, and Ghanaians will not play cha-cha with their votes. What will happen though is that it will affect the fortunes greatly, in my humble opinion, of the MPP.
I think it will affect the NDC too.
Greatly was the word I used. I didn't say it won't affect us.
Greatly.
I said greatly.
Right.
Because I know that if for nothing at all, Ashanti region is going to be split. And that is a stronghold of one political party. So the dynamic which some are praying for in terms of that is some form of second round. And I'm telling you that as it stands at the moment, it's one touch for NDC. We are going to win this election one touch because people are not coming to play cha-cha with their vote, with their votes.
One touch.
Do you understand? They are not going to play cha-cha with their votes.
We will win without any fear.
They know that this is the way it's supposed to go. So I hear the talk about duopoly, but to break the duopoly properly, you can't do it on just one front. In my humble opinion, they have to be able to do it, or you must try and do it on two fronts. But this is one way of trying. So I'm not knocking it completely.
No, but we agree, so we don't have a problem.
Let me, with all due respect, you know, the duopoly comes with two fundamental problems.
Yes.
One, NDC MPP matter. Two, excessive partisanship.
That is the problem.
So the formation of movement, even though I'm not part of it, is to ensure, is to address these two fundamental problems. One, to eliminate NDC MPP politics, and two, to move from partisanship to patriotism.
Right.
Exactly.
And that is why
how do you do that when the legislature that is going to deal with it?
Just a minute. And in that case, look, we all know the nature of our constitutional experiment, I mean constitutional democracy, is clear. There's too much of concentration of power in the hands of the
So you need a constitutional change.
So the movement is the foundation for the constitutional change.
No.
And once the power,
we started it.
We can do it.
But you are. What do we need? We were not the power at the time.
Professor Fletch.
Right. We were doing it. And it was your MPP.
My time is up.
Let me end by saying that. Let me end by saying that. If the movement is able, we're doing it. If the movement is able to find a solution, if the movement is able to find a solution to these two problems confronting the fourth Republican democracy, listen, Ghana will be the
We will save the country.
Right. Thank you so much. Our time is up. I want to thank Honorable Segbefia, also Dr. Marzouk and Solomon Owusu for your time this morning, and to our cherished viewers. But before I go, let me do this birthday dedication. Happy birthday to Ama Asanoa Boateng. You have completed Agona Sabah Presby SHS. May the Lord open good doors for you and give you enough protection. This is coming from your father, Yao Boateng of the Parliamentary Press Corps. Right, so to you, Ama Asanoa Boateng, this one is from your father. Now, away from that, I want to thank you so much for your time. I'll catch you same time tomorrow. It's a Monday. Make sure you put in all the work. So that at the end of the week, you look back and say you've had a successful week. Bye-bye.